Hey guys, what is going on? This is Travis. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel, and today we're taking a look at the Lenovo 14W laptop. Now, I do want to apologize right from the get-go here. This is not my usual reviewing location. Unfortunately, that's buried in holiday presents, wrapping paper, and tape, so we're going to be giving you a tabletop review from the oven top. But anyway, Lenovo 14W, okay, what do you need to know? Well, we paid $129 from it, bought it directly from Lenovo. We did get free shipping. We did have to pay sales tax on it. As of December 20th, 2019, these laptops are still available for $129 from Lenovo's website. They do retail at $299, and I've actually seen them advertised for that price before. Now, before you just go run off and just say, hey, that's a great deal, I'm going to go buy one, I want to take you through the pros and cons and kind of give you some hands-on use with this thing to really help you decide if this is going to work for you. I would say that this laptop is entry-level at best, and there are some things that it does really well, and there's also some things that it struggles on. So you really need to think about your application and purpose before you buy this laptop. Okay, and so before we boot it up so you can see real-world boot up times and program startup times and all that fun stuff, let's just quickly take you through the tech specs. I'm going to try not to get too tech heavy because I got a feeling a lot of people buying these might be buying them for a first-time laptop for kids or maybe a college student or somebody who just wants a cheap laptop. They just want something that's going to run. They don't really care if it's going to run, say, PUBG or Fortnite at 60 frames per second. They just want a laptop. So anyway, tech specs, what do you need to know? We've got an AMD A6 9220 dual-core processor that runs at 1.8 gigahertz. It does have a max boost speed of 2.7, which will kick in when necessary. The processor is acceptable. It's okay. That kind of processor is seen on some higher-end smartphones, tablets, entry-level laptops. It's going to be okay for what you need it for. A 14-inch FHD non-glare 1920 by 1080 screen, which is features integrated AMD graphics. I think it's R5 graphics is what they call it. It's kind of, again, a lower-end kind of tablet, smartphone graphics processing unit that's going to handle the basics for what you need it to do. You do have 4 gigs of RAM, which cannot be upgraded. It is soldered onto the motherboard, so in other words, you're locked into 4 gigs. So if you start to see some diminishing performance down the road, there won't be much you can really do about it aside from maybe cleaning up the laptop a little bit, deleting some programs and stuff like that, running a little bit less at the same time, but you are stuck with 4 gigs. It does have Bluetooth 4.2. It does have a Wi-Fi card built into, which I believe is AC compatible. Yeah, 802.11 AC compatible. It does have a 720p HD camera, webcam, with 2 microphone pickups on the front, so it's going to record in stereo sound. It does have 1 USB-C charging port, which is nice because that's quickly becoming the standard on a lot of your Android phones. And you can charge this laptop with just a standard cell phone charger, although it would take longer than the included unit, which we'll take a look at here in just a minute. It does have 2 USB 3.0 ports, a micro SD card slot, HDMI out, which is really nice, and a mic audio combo, which I just talked about. It does ship with Windows 10 Pro loaded on a 64 gigabyte version. My bad on that, I mean a 64-bit version. Okay, the hard drive, I guess you could call it a hard drive. It's a 64 gigabyte eMMC chip or storage unit. What that means is embedded multimedia card. So essentially they're taking a flash card, I guess you could say, or a memory card like you put in your cell phone, and they are soldering it onto the motherboard. The bonuses of this is that it's going to be faster than a traditional mechanical hard drive. The negatives about it are going to be the performance speed of it. It's not going to be the same as a solid state drive, so no, this unit does not have a solid state drive. All right, so top to bottom, front to back, let's just take a look at the physical design of the laptop itself. It does have a bezel that is only 6 millimeters thick, which is really nice. It's not very thick at all. The overall unit measures just a little over an inch thick. So it is very thin, kind of reminiscent of a MacBook Air, not quite as, as edgy, but also not thick at the same time. It does have a brushed aluminum black painted cover or top lid. You can see the actual fingerprints I've put on it just from basic handling. You can wipe it off with a lightly damp cloth if you want to, or computer wipes, and it's going to do the job for you. It does feel very high quality. It does feel very well built. It's a very rigid platform and chassis. It is a rugged style laptop, as Lenovo does put some basic standards into their laptops to make them classroom proof or real world business proof, I guess you could say. It does feature reinforced hinges, again, anti-glare screen, webcams up in the front, decent sized trackpad that is fairly responsive. And the finish on this, I have an Asus Chromebook that has this kind of a finish. It's almost like a wood grain finish, but it is just a plastic. But it is very smooth to the touch. It is fingerprint resistant, unlike the lid up on the top. One thing I like about it is you can hold this and it doesn't flex at all, which is really nice. I mean, it is very sturdy and well built. Going on the left side over here, we do have a USB 3.0 port, a headphone out jack. I believe that will function also with the microphone, micro SD card slot, USB-C charging port, which is nice because it does charge the laptop quickly with the included unit. You do have another USB 3.0 port on the left-hand side and an HDMI out and a Kensington lock device, which allows you to lock it to your desk if you want to. On the bottom, you do have some cooling vents, as well as your registration information, serial number, and all that fun stuff, and some rubber padding. The speakers are located here on the sides. These little slots, if I'm not mistaken, these are water drain slots, and the reason why is because the keyboard, which we'll move on to next, is spill resistant up to 1.4 cups of water. So the design, if I'm not mistaken, has, if you pour water on the top of it, it will channel out through the bottom. I'm not going to do that to this laptop because I can't risk damaging it, but it is supposed to handle up to 1.4 cups of water. Keyboard itself, the keys feel, you know, they're a decent size. I'd say they're kind of on par with like a MacBook Air if you've ever had a chance to type with one of those. They're not large, but they are good keys. They do feel solid. A little bit of keyboard flex when you press on the keys, but they're not mushy. They are crisp and resilient, and they are mechanically anchored, which means that they should not pop off under normal use. Laptop does design and intend these laptops for the business and education market. Okay, so I want to do a lot of just real world tests on this thing. Let's just show you what the actual boot speed is going to look like when you turn it on. It's very quiet. Only occasionally does the fan actually come on. I can even barely hear it at all. So let's just go ahead and get signed in. Gonna block my login information so you don't see that. There we go. All right, and it immediately takes you to your desktop. Let's go ahead and turn up the brightness on this a little bit so you can see what it looks like. Now this might cause the background of the camera to blend out here, bleed out a little bit just because of the light difference, but again, it is not an overly bright screen. It's not bad. It's more than adequate for what you need. Now, I do have Steam installed on it, and that is just so that I can show off a video game in case you're kind of curious for gamers. You know, is this going to be adequate for a gaming rig? So we're not going to log into Steam just yet. You do have your usual round of Windows 10 apps and stuff on it. I'm going to say this right now. When you get this, you need to do two things. You need to run all the updates because it does have a BIOS update that it needs, and the Lenovo program will remind you of it. Do that. And then also, I don't normally recommend this for any kind of a solid state drive or a memory chip drive, but you do want to run the disk defragmenter on it. After I did all the updates, 20% of the hard drive was fragmented, and the system did recommend that I do defragment the hard drive. So I went ahead and did that, and I had a noticeable increase in performance. I know a lot of people talk about how laggy this unit is in the reviews and so on. After I did that, restarted it, man, it just runs really, really well, and I think that's going to help out quite a bit. You do have access to Office 365, which will turn on. I've never actually activated it before because I am a dyed-in-the-wool LibreOffice user. LibreOffice is a free application suite that you can download that will give you word processing and presentation software and spreadsheet software. So you can see in real time, this is how long it takes to open up the program. It's not a speed demon, but for what you need it for, which is basic document composition, presentation creation, it's going to be more than adequate for that kind of an application. Storage space wise, when it's all said and done, I have 26 gigabytes of storage space left, or 25 out of 64, after doing all the OS updates and all the system updates. So yeah, this is not a speed demon by any stretch, but again, if you look at its intended purpose, which is basic classroom use and so on, I mean, it's perfectly fine for what it is. Let's just go ahead and create a writer document and see how long that takes to fire up. There we go, brings it up on the bottom. Again, it's not a speed demon by any stretch, as I've said before. Okay, let's get out of there. But again, it is fine for what you need it for. So if you just want something for, you know, for basic web browsing, document composition, you know, getting some homework done, stuff like that, I think it's going to be okay for you. Let's go and close that out. And before I forget, we don't currently use Office 365, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like when you turn it on. So there's kind of some activation stuff that's going to pop up the first time that we turn it on here. Again, Office 365, I think it's about $100 a year, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. So we just go ahead and click on the little icon, and we'll just click on Word and bring up a Word document for you and see how long that takes to open up. We'll go for a new blank document here. And there we go. Might ask for some confirmation and stuff like that the first time that we get it going here. There we go. It's thinking, processing. Remember, this is primarily cloud-based, if I'm not mistaken, so you might see a little more lag and delays than usual versus just running straight up Office off your computer. And let's go ahead and close that out. We're not going to run that. I just want to show this to you real quick. So you can see that you do have your regular word processor. Okay, the next thing I want to go ahead and move on to is just the camera itself, the webcam image. I was using it last night in a video podcast on YouTube, and it was okay. My buddies told me that the video was a bit grainy and the video was a bit choppy. It was not in sync with the audio. And so that's something, if you're going to be hosting podcasts or live streams and stuff like that, I would ask you to probably pass on this laptop. Go for something that has a little bit more video memory with it. But let's just take a look at the camera, get a chance to see me and me filming this actual video. So here's your camera app right here. And as you can see, it's not too bad. It's a little bit grainy. I do have a well-lit kitchen that I'm working in right now. And you can go into video mode if you want to, and you can film. Again, 720p, take it for what it is. With this anti-glare matte finish screen, it's not going to look very crisp either for video. Might look a little bit better, say, on your cell phone. One of the things that I did appreciate about this laptop out of the box is it did not come with a lot of extra bloaty software on it. I mean, it does have the basic Windows 10 apps that you can expect, but it didn't come with anything extra that we really had to uninstall. And I do appreciate Lenovo doing that, and this was not any kind of special version that we bought and so on. Audio is pretty good. We'll open up a web browser here in a little bit. We'll take a look at Facebook. We'll take a look at a couple of YouTube videos and things like that. Wireless has no trouble connecting. Battery life. Okay, I keep the battery life. Here's another tip. Keep it cranked up to best performance. You're going to be looking at about 6 hours of battery life if you keep it on best performance. If you knock it down to best battery life, you're going to get about 10 hours of just basically web-based performance. And so, you know, you can get a full day out of it. If you put it somewhere in the middle, you might be looking at around 7 or 8 hours of performance. It's going to have some suggested speeds for what you're doing, but you can set it where you want it. But again, if you go to best battery life, it's going to dim the screen. I go better performance just for the sake of testing because I want to see what this thing is going to be capable of doing in testing. So we'll go ahead and move it over there. You do get your usual Windows 10 notifications that'll pop up if you have anything that's that needs to be installed or needs to be done, and you can go from there. So let's go ahead and just fire up the web browser. I'm not running it with Chrome. We're just going to go ahead and run it with Firefox. In fact, I don't even know if we've got Google Chrome installed on this. I think we'll do that here in just a minute and see how well it runs. But Firefox, again, takes a little bit of time to open up. This is all done in real time. Nothing's being edited out, so you can see it. And it'll take you where you want to go. So Firefox will run okay on it. It will open up in just a few seconds. Let's go ahead and install Chrome, and then we will do some testing. Okay, so we have Google Chrome installed here. Let's just go ahead and do some working on it and see what happens. So we open up Chrome. I've just signed into it, and then I close it out, and we're just opening it back up again. Hopefully this isn't too blurry on your end, guys, when you're watching this. So it opens up. You usually get that default extra tab that pops open. We're going to close that out. Let's go ahead and just go check out Gmail and see how long it takes to load up. And again, the waiting can be one of the most frustrating things as somebody who purchases a new computer. You know, you're expecting the newest, fastest thing, and then you get something and there's delays with it, and it can get frustrating. That's something to take into consideration. Oh, and the unit itself, I believe it weighs 3.4 pounds, so it's not a very heavy unit, although it does have some decent weight to it. It does feel fairly substantial. So Gmail opens up with no problems at all. Again, having this matte finish screen, it's a little bit lighter. You do have okay blacks, but it's not the rich, dark, crisp blacks that you expect from like a glossy screen. I'm not used to the tap to click feature that we have going on here because I primarily work on a Mac up at work. So yeah, you just click on New on the left-hand side over here, and then we'll do a new Google Doc. Let's go ahead and bring that up real quick. And again, one of the main complaints I saw about this on the reviews is the more tabs you have open, the more unstable, not necessarily unstable, but the more delays you get with the system. But I'm not really running into that right now. So let's go and leave the dock open, and let's open up a new Google Sheet. So if you're a spreadsheet person, you have this option also. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of OpenOffice and LibreOffice, and I've been using it for years. So that's a nice alternative to Office 365, but you know, the Google apps work fine too. It depends on kind of what your opinion is about Google in general and using Chrome and things like that. Sometimes Chrome can be a little bit of a resource hog, especially on these lower end systems, but seems to be working okay. There we go. Okay, the spreadsheet is up and running. Okay. And now let's go ahead and do a Pages or a Slides opening. Pages, I'm sitting here thinking of Mac apps, my bad on that. All right, so you open up, this is kind of your alternative to PowerPoint, right? So for basic use, you know, I could see somebody using this as, you know, unless you have to run some specialty, maybe CAD design programs and things like that, you know, you might want to consider going with something a little bit beefier. I'm not going to recommend the system for video processing at all. You've got such a low level of video RAM in this thing that I just think that you're going to be frustrated if you try to do any video processing in limited capacity storage space. I know you can add the micro SD cards, but I say if you got to do video editing, I'd say probably pass on this one. Your money might be better spent, say, on spent on like an i5 or an i7 refurbished system with 8 or 16 gigs of RAM and maybe an integrated graphics card. And I know that might be tech speak for a lot of you, but those of you that deal in video editing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and close this out real quick. So now the next thing is, let's head on over to Facebook, because I know a lot of people are going to use Facebook, and are we going to be looking at lag every time the pages open up and so on. Okay, let me go ahead and sign into my account. Oh, and we'll go back to YouTube also and check some videos out. That was another complaint also, is that it does stumble a little bit when you try to run 1080p resolution on your videos, which I usually don't, just because I sometimes don't have the best connection speeds anyway. But it seems to be loading just fine. Oh, there's a picture of me from December of 2012, ugly Christmas sweater day at work. All right, so anyway, it's fine for what it is. You can fully customize the touch sensors, or I'm sorry, the touch unit, if you want to, the trackpad. So, okay, this is good. Let's head on over to eBay. Again, anything that's kind of graphics heavy or photo heavy can cause lag on some of these systems. Okay, no problems there. Good deal. And now let's go on over to YouTube and let's play a video for my channel. Again, just trying to show you a nice kind of all-around application use of this thing, which again is going to be the most important thing, the end user experience for you. All right, let's go to the channel, see how quick it loads up my videos. Oh, it's fairly speedy, it seems decent. All right, let's go ahead. Here's the advertisement for the computer that I did about a month ago. And here's the review of me doing a Dunkin' Donuts peppermint mocha. Oh, let's go ahead and mute that real quick so I don't get nailed on copyright. Okay, takes care of that. All right, let's turn the volume up a little bit. See what the audio is like.
It cost me $2.89 for a small.
Now, this audio is awfully tinny because I made this video on my phone, but more than adequate for a small room just for personal use. All right, now let's go back to one of my videos that I actually made in 1080p and see how it does. This, I think the camera was just 720p on my iPhone here. All right, let's do the Speedy Coffee review that I did. Okay, let's let that load up real quick.
We're going to try the house blend today. I figure we'll start off with the most basic coffee that they offer.
Go full screen here for you.
We'll go Colombian, dark roast, and then the Brazilian is actually a limited run, so apparently.
All right, and now resolution, let's turn that up to, oh, it is on 1080p. Okay. Let's go 1080p HD and see what happens here and see if it stutters or buffers.
We're going to go ahead and make this up in my little single cup mainstays, $20.
Okay, so it's fine. Like I said, doing those driver updates that it had when I first got it and defragmenting it, I think that's one thing that a lot of people aren't doing when they first buy this computer. They get it home and out of the box. It does need just a little bit of cleaning, but it's very easy to defragment it, kind of delete some of the programs you don't need, get rid of some of the clutter. But as is, this is perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and just test out a game. I'm going to go ahead and log into Steam, and we'll get Rocket League up and running. And I got something else I want to mention about this too. Okay, just, loading Rocket League initially, it was a little bit choppy even when it was kind of going to the start bar and so on. So I turned everything off in terms of extra special effects. I'm running quality level for texture detail, quality level for world detail, and high quality for particle detail. And otherwise, you're going to be going into performance and high performance settings. So in other words, I'm cranking everything down that I possibly can to see just how well this is going to work. So let's just go ahead and hit play, and we're just going to go ahead and do a quick play. And it says it's searching right now. I mean, it's running. I think that's the most important thing, but I would not buy this expecting it to be much of a high-power gaming rig. You're definitely going to have to turn down the settings on it and then start to tweak it for each game individually. And some games pretty heavily use the resources of the computer system. I've got a fairly decent gaming rig that I use for Steam, and it takes quite a bit to get these games to run really the way that you want them to. All right, so looks like we're starting. 3, 2, 1. And am I driving? I don't know. We're going to see if I'm driving here. We're on the screen right now. Let me figure out the controls here real quick. C, W, W. There we go. Now we're just going to use the W control. Let's see, W, A, S, D. There we go. It's not running too bad right now. It's decent. It's not really lagging, which is nice. Again, I should probably be running this with a mouse, but as you can see, it's fine. It's not, yeah. It is usable. So if you can run some older games, if you're okay playing some older games on Steam, and you don't mind maybe turning down the graphics settings and stuff, this is really surprising for just a good dual core processor. Okay, so now the last thing I want to show you, and this really is just kind of an apples to oranges comparison, but I like to run what's called an Octane test on any of my laptops that I purchase and Chromebooks. And you're going to get an overall Octane score, and what it is the Octane program will run through and run a bunch of tests on your laptop, and it runs all kinds of different whatever comparisons and stuff, and gives you basically different levels of performance. It gives you kind of a performance number, and in the end you get what's called an Octane score. So the Octane score for this laptop is 10,099. Now again, complete apples to oranges comparison, no big deal. But on our 2010 MacBook, all right, our old white MacBook, which is running 16 gigs of RAM, by the way, we have custom RAM for it, it gets a score of 9,921. So this is a 9-year-old laptop with a 2.4 gigahertz dual core processor. So, okay, and so before I forget, here's your power adapter. It's just kind of your standard style. You got your regular power cable that comes with it. It's not very heavy, not too bulky. Just shove it in your courier bag, your laptop bag, you're good to go. Just has that little USB-C plug on the back of it. And again, I like the fact that you can charge this off of just about any kind of USB-C charger. Remember, the more milliamps and more wattage this thing uses and puts out, the faster obviously you're going to charge your battery. I want to say it's like a 57 watt-hour battery, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember off the top of my head. So the Lenovo 14W, again, this is probably a bit wordy for a review, but I guess you really got to think about what kind of application you want for this computer, and is it going to work? Mainly because I don't want you to buy it and find yourself frustrated with it and not happy with a machine that's not going to do what you want. So when you get it, make sure you run all the updates that are necessary. It's going to have a BIOS update that's pretty important. After that, I'd say go ahead and do the disk defragmenter on it, which I normally don't recommend for solid state drives of any type, but for this, it was pretty fragmented with stuff all over the place. It will speed the system up if you run it one time. It's got a nice sleek design to it. It's got a nice heft to it. It does feel quality. Again, you got the metal lid. You got the spill-resistant keyboard. You've got the anchor-down keys. You've also got the nice, slim design and the reinforced hinges. If I didn't mention that, Lenovo claims that they have done 10,000 opening and closings of the hinges on their test models before they put this thing into the market. So it should definitely get by for what you need, especially for any kind of school or business everyday use. Now, what if I want again? At $124 to get a new laptop with a 1-year warranty with decent performance, yeah, it's perfectly fine for what it is. Again, if you're not going to do anything graphics heavy or video game heavy, this is going to be perfect for you. If you got to, again, provide a device for your child for school and you got to get a PC, I would say this is going to be fine. And I'm pretty happy with it overall. So, and again, if we have any issues with it, I'll bring it up in later videos. If I discover anything new about it, I'll let you know. Ask me any questions you might have about the system and I'll let you know. I'm not running any alternative operating systems on it. I did try to run the Opera browser and I found it to be slower than Firefox and also Google Chrome, so I can't recommend the Opera browser, but you might be able to maybe put a Linux installation on this too if that's your thing. You go right ahead. But anyway, my quick review of the Lenovo 14W laptop. Don't know how much longer they're going to be on sale for, but do check out Lenovo.com. I don't have any kind of discount links or anything like that. I'm not being compensated for this review at all. But anyway, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Make sure you guys mash the bell so you don't miss any notifications for new videos. Have yourselves a wonderful holiday season. Everybody have fun, be safe, and as you know, we will talk to you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.